Before we jump in, I want to share a resource that I trust for those moments when your body is asking questions and you want real answers, not more guessing. Equilife offers simple at-home functional lab testing, things like minerals, gut health, hormones, and inflammation, with results that don't just give you data, but clear action steps so you know what to do next. And when supplements are a part of that picture, their formulas are clean, carefully tested, and designed to support the body, not overwhelm it. I do partner with Equilife, and if you'd like to explore, you can find everything at becomingnatural.com/Equilife. That's EQUILIFE. Do you ever wish your day wasn't dictated by your health? Are you tired of being tired all the time, or is pain holding you back from enjoying your time with your family? Would you like to manage your symptoms holistically, but you just don't know where to begin? I am so excited that you're here. This podcast will help you understand how natural remedies work so you can relieve your symptoms and live a fuller life. My name is Penny. I'm an occupational therapist, past pharmaceutical rep, a mom, and a wife with a strong faith, and for 25 years, I battled through debilitating Crohn's disease. I took all the medicine and did all the surgeries that stole so much time with my family, but never truly healed me. I finally realized if I was going to survive this disease, I needed to open my stubborn eyes to alternative solutions. I researched how perfectly our bodies work with plants and a lifestyle that made my health less of a burden to my family and aligned so beautifully with my faith and my medical training. If you're ready to reclaim your life with holistic options that are easy to implement as a busy mom and provide relief that lasts, this is the podcast for you. Hey friends, welcome back to the Becoming Natural podcast. I am Penny, your host and your friend, always ready to dig deep down a rabbit hole to uncover or piece together truths that keep our bodies healthy. Today, we are diving into something that might be a completely new way of thinking for some of us, and for others, it might be newish, and still others, it might be old news. I am still growing and learning to treat my body best, and it occurred to me that what has become second nature to me over the period of many years to open my eyes may not be as obvious to others just yet. It took me a long time to have this aha moment, and it's not even a moment as I am still opening my eyes. This could be the most important shift that you make in your wellness journey this year. This episode is episode 60, Nutrient Deficiencies, the frustrating reasons symptoms persist. Stop treating your symptoms at random. Start understanding what your body actually needs. What do I mean at random? A few things. Some of us have spent years playing nutritional whack-a-mole. Tired? Take magnesium. In pain? Saffron worked for your friend. Brain fog? Maybe I need some lion's mane. No energy at 2 p.m.? What energy drink is the safest? Can't sleep? Melatonin, lavender spray, 4 podcasts, and a prayer. I say this with no shame. I've tried every single one of these things, sometimes in the same week. Half the time, we're just doing the best that we can with whatever's in the cabinet and whatever's left in our brain. But at some point, you realize that guessing is not healing. Guessing is exhausting. And why did magnesium work instantly for my best friend, but it didn't help me at all? This is a very important question. I am a big believer that God designed our bodies with incredible wisdom. When something is off, your body whispers, and then it nudges, and then it shouts when we are not paying attention. Wisdom was built into our DNA. Symptoms are not random. They are signals from our amazing body that we need something, that we are missing. I am sure most of us know that when we get a headache, it's often a sign of dehydration or a sinus congestion. So what do? We drink a lot of water. If we get a Charlie horse in our calf, it's a sign of low potassium. So what do? I eat a banana. Do you realize that both of these choices are replacements that replace important vitamins and minerals in our body? Those were the signs and the nudges that our body was giving us, a headache or a Charlie horse. The aha is, how do we initiate some positive transformation in our body? Do we do what I thought best? Make an appointment for the doctor. Tell them, for example, that my stomach burns. Get told that I have either an ulcer or heartburn, and then I get a recommendation for an over-the-counter remedy or a script for a medication to stop the burning. That's what I did for years. And if it's continuous or worse, a good doctor will draw labs and look at our complete blood count or a CBC to see if anything is off in our blood. But if there isn't, then a year goes by and 2 years pass and you're still complaining of burning in your tummy and you're still on the medicine. It's not working. Another month or another year isn't going to change anything. If you've been with me any amount of time, you know I am not judging because I am walking together in your shoes. I did it all. I just kept taking the meds, hoping and praying for a miracle. What if, instead of taking something made by man, we start from scratch and either together with the basic CBC blood work or even independently, look at what vitamins or minerals are deficient, if any, in our bodies. Why is that? We have discussed different minerals and even vitamins when we discussed trace minerals, the healing power of the sun, inflammation, and how ultimately every function of our body relies on vitamins and minerals to process effectively and efficiently. So think of vitamins and minerals as the tiny little tools your body uses to do absolutely everything in your body. They run your energy, your balance, your mood, support your hormones, repair your tissues, calm inflammation. They help you think clearly and digest your food. They help you sleep well and fight off stress. Without enough of these nutrients, your body has to work harder just to do the normal tasks, like trying to cook dinner with half the ingredients missing. Things still kind of work, but not smoothly. Symptoms start showing up because your cells are basically saying, I don't have what I need to do my job. Just a couple weeks ago, Jenny Bitar talked to us about thermography and how the images she gets tells us where our body is working harder than it needs to be working by showing up red and orange. In simple terms, vitamins and minerals are the raw materials that God designed your body to use so it can function the way it was created to, effectively, efficiently, and with resilience. So it makes sense that if we're deficient in any vitamin or any mineral, our body is compensating somehow for that deficiency. My best example that I can say is my own thyroid. When your body doesn't get enough iodine, it protects the thyroid first because the thyroid controls your metabolism, your energy, your temperature, your hormone balance. It is a life or death organ. And so the body diverts whatever iodine it can to find it, to keep it running, and it brings it to the thyroid. But here's the catch. Other organs also need iodine, especially the breasts, the brain, the stomach, the lungs. So when iodine is in short supply, those organs get depleted so the thyroids can stay afloat. So that's when other symptoms start showing up. You get brain fog because the brain is low on iodine. You get stomach issues because iodine supports healthy stomach acid. You get breast tenderness or cysts because breast tissue relies on iodine. Respiratory vulnerability because the lungs also store iodine. This is just one example of what happens when your iodine is low and your thyroid steals it from your brain. First, low iodine slows your brain signaling. Since thyroid hormones regulate brain speed and communication, the result is slower thinking, brain fog, reduced mental clarity. The brain isn't broken, it's underpowered. Number 2, iodine deficiency impairs your brain development. Iodine is essential for building neurons and insulating brain pathways during development. When iodine is lacking, the brain doesn't wire itself efficiently, which can affect learning, memory, and cognitive capacity long term. Number 3, the adult brain becomes less resilient. In adults, iodine deficiency can disrupt your neurotransmitter balance. What does that mean? That means that this can show up as poor focus, anxiety, low mood, emotional flattening. The brain struggles to adapt to stress when your thyroid hormone signals are insufficient. Number 5, brain energy production declines. Without adequate iodine, your brain cells use glucose and oxygen less efficiently. So your mental stamina drops, your concentration fades faster, and thinking feels exhausting, even without heavy mental effort. When iodine is deficient, the brain doesn't shut down. It shifts into conservation mode, trading clarity and resilience for basic survival. And that is just one organ that suffers just when iodine, a mineral that we need in very, very small amounts, is low. If the iodine is low, the thyroid gets your first dibs and the rest of your body pays the price. So if my stomach is burning, which was actually caused by an iodine deficiency, and I took iodine supplements to get back on track, not only would my stomach potentially self-correct, my thyroid wouldn't eventually tucker out by being overworked from operating with low amounts of iodine, and long-term, that medicine that has side effects that I was prescribed for potential ulcer or heartburn wouldn't have produced any side effects if I had never taken it. My stomach wouldn't have proceeded to become inflamed, and years of inflammation and ulcers that became calloused and formed scar tissue, causing strictures where my food couldn't get through. Do you see how one simple test for your vitamin and mineral levels could potentially prevent a lifetime of illness? And that actually is part of my story. Oh, how I wish I had known these things 30 years ago. But I know without a doubt that my story can help so many people. If iodine deficiency, a mineral that adults need only about 150 micrograms per day, that's a pinch of iodized salt, can cause so much havoc in our body, what about other vitamins and minerals? So today we're going to talk about why nutrient deficiencies often sit underneath the things we chalk up to age, stress, mom life, hormones, or we just accept it for this is just how it is. And I completely reject the just how it is anymore, and how getting tested instead of guessing can change absolutely everything. That guess when my blood work was fine, but my stomach was burning, was actually a guess I never thought about. It's what everybody does. They pop in an acid. I was fine with it because I thought that's what we did. But now I see that it was a guess based on one symptom. My stomach burns. I wonder what my life would look like now if I knew then that my iodine was depleted. So take a breath and let's get curious. This is why we can't keep guessing. We live in a culture that teaches us to treat the symptom, not the story. You're tired? Boost your energy. Here's a thyroid med. You're sad? Lift your mood. Here's an antidepressant. You're anxious? Calm your nerves. Take an anti-anxiety pill. But the body is not a machine with a broken part. It's a whole ecosystem, that symphony I always talk about, designed by a God who is not careless at all with details, not even a single detail. Every cell communicates. Every system influences the others. If we're deficient in one single cell, we are deficient in all cells because they are all continuously replicated over and over and over. We spend so much time trying random supplements, hoping one of them is the missing piece. It feels like throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. And why would we assume what works for our friend should work for us when all of our bodies are so different? Kind of silly if we actually think about it. We all have different diets. We all have different body functions. This is not the abundant life that we were promised. John 10:10 says, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. This is the verse most often used when we talk about the life that Jesus intends for us. Not a life free of hardship, but a life filled with purpose, with fullness and true wholeness in Him. 3 John 1:2 says, Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers. What we want is clarity. And what brings clarity? Information, not assumptions, not Instagram reels, not what your neighbor swears fixed her bloating in 3 days. What worked for her may not be exactly what your body needs for you. Your body deserves better than aimless hope. It deserves targeted nourishment. So why do nutrients matter so deeply? Very simply, your body runs on nutrients like your phone runs on a battery. Vitamins and minerals are involved in nearly every single process that keeps you alive. Energy production, hormone creation, mood regulation, detoxification, digestion, immune function, sleep cycles, nervous system balance. The list goes on and on, literally everything that keeps us alive. When even one nutrient falls low, other symptoms start compensating. And for a while, they do a pretty good job at that because your body is resilient. But eventually, those little gaps add up to big gaps. So let's talk not about humans for a second, but just plants. So my hydrangea leaves started getting droopy and they had brown spots on them. So I took a leaf to the master gardener at my favorite nursery. They wanted me to look at my soil, not the leaf. What was the nitrogen level? What was the acid level? They didn't look at the symptoms. They wanted to know the root of the issue, no pun intended. But why in the world would we not treat our amazingly created bodies by the same God who created amazingly created hydrangeas the same? Why would we not look at the soil or the root issue instead of just treating the symptom that shows up on the surface? And here's the part that surprised me the most when I first learned it. Many nutrient deficiencies look exactly like, quote, mysterious symptoms. Fatigue, anxiety, mood changes, muscle pain, sleep issues, PMS, heart palpitations, irritability, brain fog, low motivation. These are not personality traits. They are biochemical messages. Yet we have been trained to run to the pharmacy and take a pill for the headache instead of drinking more water maybe, or grab a decongestant or an allergy pill for a runny nose. How about a cough drop for a sore throat? Believe it or not, these are all symptoms of a larger issue. A headache is a signal of many things, but it can be dehydration. Our body's response to get rid of foreign invaders is develop drainage to push it out, not keep it in. A sore throat, often a signal again of drainage down our throat. Drink loads of water to thin the mucus. And if you want to take something natural that will prevent infection, should that develop with the drainage, use silver as a nose spray or sinus rinse to prevent that infection. Believe it or not, the headache, the decongestion, and the sore throat meds actually do have side effects or contraindications that we disregard because everyone does it. What if it actually affected your body and you don't even realize it? One time that uncomfortable side effect rears its ugly head, or what if those meds intended to treat you actually exacerbate your issues? So there's some common deficiencies that trick us. This is where we shine a light on the things most women are low in, especially moms like us juggling stress, schedules, and not enough sleep. Number one, magnesium. I'm sure we have all heard it. It's the calm down mineral. Low magnesium can mimic anxiety, insomnia, cramps, and irritability. Vitamin D, it's a hormone disguised as a vitamin. Low levels of vitamin D can cause low mood, immune issues, fatigue, especially in the winter. Vitamin D warrants truly an entire podcast for all of its benefits. But for now, I'm going to direct you back to the health of sunlight as it helps to transform the cholesterol in our skin to vitamin D to perform a million duties that we discussed in our body. Current research shows that vitamin D deficiency is extremely common, far more than most people realize. And here's the simplest, clearest way to say it. Around 40% of U.S. adults are deficient in vitamin D, and nearly 70 to 80% have levels that are insufficient. So that means it's not low enough to diagnose deficiency, but not high enough for your optimal health. Globally, the numbers are even higher. An estimated 1 billion people worldwide are deficient, and about 50% of the global population has inadequate levels. Why so many? Number one, we spend most of our time indoors. Sunscreen blocks the vitamin D synthesis. Darker skin tones naturally produce less vitamin D from sunlight. Gut issues or liver and kidney problems reduce the activation of vitamin D. Obesity and inflammation change how vitamin D is stored and used. Winter and northern climates, you have low sunlight exposure, which decreases the production of the vitamin D. So in short, vitamin D deficiency is so widespread that many experts consider it a modern epidemic and a root contributor to low mood, fatigue, immune weakness, inflammation, and hormone imbalance. I've cited these studies in the show notes. Number three, B vitamins is something that we're very low in, especially B12 and B6. They're responsible for energy, mood, and neurotransmitter production. Low levels feel exactly like burnout. Another thing that we're low in, iron or ferritin. Ferritin is a kind of iron, especially important for women. Low iron is fatigue, palpitations, brain fog, shortness of breath, hair shedding. Omega-3s, we talk about this all the time. It seems like your brain's building blocks. Low levels of omega-3s are inflammation, mood swings, trouble focusing. Finally, zinc and copper imbalance. It's a ratio problem, which is the problem with many of our vitamins and minerals. But it's not just a single deficiency. It can look like anxiety, weakened immunity, poor stress tolerance. We're not meant to guess which of these we're missing. We can't guess. So when that orchestra is not performing together, any number of deficiencies could be the root cause of the issue. This is why labs exist. Labs that also test our vitamins and our minerals, the most important raw building blocks of our bodies. It just seems obvious when you think about it for a second. So why testing isn't overkill? Many people will say this. Somewhere along the way, functional labs got labeled as extra. But is it really extra to know why your body feels off? What we can't determine just from a CBC? We need to see what's missing. We need to understand what your cells are actually asking for when you get that small little symptom, that small little nudge. Testing doesn't make you dramatic. It makes you informed. And here's the truth. You cannot supplement your way out of a deficiency that you have not identified. And who wants to spend all the money on all the supplements that you don't even know are working? And if you're anything like me, I've taken so many pills in my life. Follow through will not be great with me if I am not convinced it's working. And even if it is, I hate taking pills. This is why some people feel like they've tried everything. They haven't. They've just tried everything except for the right thing. God created order, and when he designed your body, he built it with patterns, signals, and measurable markers. Proverbs tells us wisdom is the principal thing. And I love this verse. Proverbs 4:7 says, the beginning of wisdom is this, get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. Testing is one way we practice wisdom. So, what testing can show you and why it's so powerful? These are things that you can actually learn. Which nutrients your body is low in, which ones you're using too quickly, whether stress is burning through the minerals and you don't have enough, if inflammation is impacting your absorption, whether gut issues are keeping you from absorbing what you eat, if your hormones have enough nutritional building blocks, and how your detox pathways are coping, meaning, are you actually holding on to the minerals too long, which is highly possible. That it's an opposite problem, is that you're not getting rid of them and processing through your minerals. Testing is like turning the lights on in the same room that you've been walking through with a blindfold on. Suddenly, the coffee table you kept tripping over makes sense. And what is true for you may not be true for me. Maybe my fatigue is caused by that low iodine and yours is caused by low magnesium. I swear by my daily iodine supplements that help me realize after 15 years of taking thyroid meds, my thyroid actually works. It was just not getting the iodine that it needed. But if you take iodine and you need magnesium, my life-changing revelation will be hopeless discouragement for you. It is what you need, not what your friend needs, not what I need. And the only way to determine that is by testing your vitamins and minerals. So God designed your body to be known. One of my favorite things about the human body is that it's not trying to hide from you. Psalm 139 says, we are fearfully and wonderfully made. The Hebrew root of that word is intentionally, intricately, purposefully crafted. Your body is not failing, it's communicating. And I'm going to say that again. Our bodies, we are told, are failing because we're aging or because it's just what happens to us. Or my favorite that I've been told, these are just the cards that you've been dealt. Our bodies are operating on half the ingredients in the recipe, trying to make a pastry sweet without the sugar. What if we listened to those nudges before they became sirens and simply tried to test our vitamins and minerals? It certainly can't hurt. We are treating with only half the picture. I can't tell you how many friends of mine had thyroid issues that were initially told that their blood work was good. But I was also told that my thyroid no longer worked and I would be on thyroid meds for life. I have been off thyroid meds for 2 years and maintained good levels by adding a daily iodine supplement. My thyroid works just fine. I was just depleted of iodine. I tested my vitamins and minerals from home, and I found out my D3 was ridiculously low, among many other things. So I started replacing those missing minerals, and it is amazing how much better I feel. When we pause long enough to listen, through testing, through symptoms, through prayer, we honor that design. By running to the doctor every time we have a sniffle, we are not only not allowing these incredible bodies that we get to live in heal on their own, as they are designed to do, we're not trusting that God wants us to live abundantly and with good health, not limping through life with poor health. And trust me, I limped for 25 years with severe Crohn's disease. I am not bitter, I'm not angry, but eternally grateful to not be living in that brutal, chronically debilitating pain on a daily basis or being admitted to the hospital more times than I can count, having as many blood transfusions, iron transfusions, medications, invasive procedures, and Lord have mercy, the number of surgeries that I have battled through and recovered from. Only those close to me know how awful they were, but I like to remind myself how bad it was, to remind myself how good and faithful my God is who healed me despite all the odds and the amazing friends and family we had that carried us through those most difficult times in our lives. But that body, this body that I live in, healed from being cut open more than 13 times. I didn't even have to tell the cells, heal my wounds. Cells heal my wounds. The wisdom was already in my cells. We were designed by our designer to heal. God never asked us to white knuckle wellness. He gave us wisdom. He gave us science and the ability to understand the systems that he created. So what happens when you finally get answers? Here's where everything shifts. When women start nourishing the exact deficiencies that they have and not making guesses, here's what often changes. You have a calmer mood. You get better sleep. You have more energy, clearer thinking, less overwhelm, less inflammation, more emotional resilience, hormones that feel more predictable, a nervous system that doesn't jump at every little stressor. My Lanta, every single one of those things sounds amazing to me. It feels like your body is saying, thank you. This is what I needed all along. Imagine desperately needing a glass of water and not being able to get one. We know when we're thirsty. We don't know when our potassium is low, but our body yearns for that potassium in the same way that we thirst for water. Listen to your body. Don't assume this is aging. This is normal. This is how it's supposed to be. So what kind of testing should you consider? So you can work with your provider to run basic blood work, and this is something that you need to be in partnership with your provider. But Basic blood work would be a CBC, which most doctors run, vitamin D, iron, B12, a full thyroid panel, which is TSH plus free T3 and T4 antibodies, ferritin, omega-3 index, magnesium, RBC, homocysteine, which is for your B vitamin status, and functional nutrient testing. I can also direct you to the home testing that I use that was incredibly thorough and eye-opening for sure. You don't have to do all of these tests at once. Start with what seems most likely based on your symptoms. The goal is not to chase perfection or to spend a ton of money. The goal is to stop guessing. And our routine testing that's provided by our doctors, sometimes the doctors want to do way more than they can provide. It's determined by perhaps your insurance or not having insurance. There's so many parameters as to what your doctor is, quote, allowed to provide for you. Sometimes their hands are tied. So by asking for certain tests, you may have to pay out of pocket. You may have to pay a little bit more, but isn't it going to be worth every dime if you find a way to help your symptoms? So moving forward, listen to your body. Your symptoms are not inconveniences. They're breadcrumbs. For every craving, every crash, every wave of irritability, every sleepless night, ruminating on what your menu is going to be for a dinner party in a month, that is your body asking for something. It is not shameful. It's not judgmental. It's just nourishment. And you are perfect. And you are in the perfect season to start listening. So as we wrap up today, I just want to say this. If your body feels confusing right now, it doesn't mean you're broken. You're not broken. You're not old. And if you're old, it doesn't mean that you should expect to have a decline in your wellness. You just need attention. Just like my warning light on my car told me that my brake system needs attention. We need to kick our own tires once in a while, do the walk around surveillance of the vehicle, check the oil, rotate the tires, make sure that all of the belts are good. If there are any lights, low tires, concerns in the walk around, low oil, wearing on the tires or aging belts, start from the basic foundation that God gave us. Dirt, ashes, dust are vitamins and minerals. Genesis 3:19 says, "For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." It means something under the surface needs attention. When you know better, you do better. When you understand what your body is missing, you give it the chance to function the way that God designed it to work. Ask questions, run the labs, get curious, and let peace, not panic, guide you to your next step. Most importantly, shift your thinking to replenishing the very raw materials we were created with for optimal functioning. Start with deficiencies. If the lowest level of testing reveals you have no deficiencies, then go to the next level for more medical advice. It just makes total sense to me to check for the ingredients in our bodies that were originally created to make our bodies work and grow perfectly by God, not man. And also of great importance, most of us don't need to supplement for life. We should be getting our nutrients from our daily intake, but getting tested will actually open our eyes to what we aren't getting enough of regularly. Omega-3, for example, it will help us refocus our weekly intake to maybe eating more salmon. We supplement to get us back to the baseline so we can improve what needs attention. And then when we're functioning effectively, retest and hopefully get off the supplements. This is not a lifetime commitment. You deserve clarity. Your body deserves clarity. And clarity brings freedom. Incredible freedom. And with that freedom, you will be able to focus not on your aches and pains, but on the abundant life that we have been promised. Thank you so much, y'all, for being here today. I hope this encouraged you today. I hope that you understand where I'm coming from and just see how simple it seems that we are completely overlooking the fact that we just need to find out if our nutrients are there and start from what our deficiencies are and treat the deficiencies versus calling in the medication to treat a symptom that may not even be there if we figure out what the deficiency is and manage the deficiencies. If you know a friend or family member who needs to hear this, please share it. I'm cheering for you always. Have a great one. Thank you so much for tuning in today. If you've enjoyed today's episode, hit that follow button, leave a 5-star review if you're so willing, and help spread the message of Becoming Natural by sharing it with a friend. Check out the resources in the show notes and join the email list to stay on top of all the latest and greatest happenings at Becoming Natural as we roll out exciting new things while we grow. Until next time, take those baby steps to a more natural life and always give yourself grace. Progress, not perfection, is the goal. See you next week.